Oral questions by members.
Leader of the Official Opposition.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. More than a year ago, when I asked the Premier about SOGI and the sexualization of children in our schools, the Premier said raising this issue was, and I quote, cultural war and feeds the fires of division. Yesterday, we learned from the Minister of Education that this government is reviewing SOGI to make it more age-appropriate. Will the Premier now admit that he was wrong to characterize concerned parents as being hateful?
Premier.
We have a huge interest in making sure that all kids feel safe at school, regardless of who they are, where their origin is. And I regret very much the member of the opposition, members of his caucus, have repeatedly distorted a program that, by the way, the Leader of the Opposition stood behind, endorsed, supported as a member of the cabinet for many years. It caused fear among parents, particularly among parents from new arrival communities just arriving in BC, trying to figure out the school system, and then they hear about this horrific program. It's actually an anti-bullying program, Honourable Speaker, to protect kids. He and his colleagues promoted that hate and fear in our communities, and now, unsurprisingly, we have to go through and do some work with communities to make sure that they understand that we're out there to protect kids and look after them. And it didn't stop during the election campaign. Just last night, the opposition health critic was at a far-right event called Reunify. She was on a 3-person panel, one of whom was discredited Alberta doctor, Doctor William Mack. She's the health critic. He said COVID-19 vaccines are neither safe nor effective. On Monday, he posted an article claiming the vaccine causes AIDS. Honourable Speaker, that was Monday. And related to SOGI.
Member.
Well, what did you say on the panel, member?
Members.
And after his medical license was cancelled, he said.
Just Premier.
After his medical license was cancelled, he said the Alberta College of Physicians and Surgeons should be renamed, quote, the College of Pedophiles and Child Sex Abusers. This is who the health critic for the opposition sat beside at a panel yesterday. That's the kind of hate they promote.
Leader of the Official Opposition, supplemental.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Well, it's pretty clear the Premier will not apologize to parents that he called hateful. But regardless of that, Mr. Speaker, I do have perhaps a different angle to take on this. So yesterday, the Minister of Education said, and I quote, the Minister is working towards a provincial framework that includes specific criteria ensuring age-appropriate materials are in school. End quote. Mr. Speaker, will the Minister commit today to having parents decide what is age-appropriate material in our schools?
Mr. Premier.
The Leader of the Opposition and his colleagues are repeatedly promoting disinformation, misleading parents, misleading British Columbians about everything from SOGI to what's happening in our schools. I encourage any parent, if you have concerns about what's happening in a school, talk to your teacher. Talk to your kid's teacher. Don't listen to the Leader of the Opposition or his health critic about what's happening in the province. She sits...
Members.
She sits beside a doctor who lied and said that 80 young doctors died from the COVID-19 vaccine. She sat beside a doctor that said COVID-19 vaccines are neither safe nor effective. She sat beside a doctor who said that COVID-19 vaccines cause AIDS. These are the people the opposition endorses, sits beside, give legitimacy to. What an embarrassment, Honourable Speaker.
Member. Come to order. Premier has the floor. Please.
I'm sure the member will stand up and clarify that she disagreed vehemently with his tweets, with his misrepresentation of vaccines. But will the leader of the opposition stand up and denounce her attendance at this conference?
Members, shh. Members, calm down. Members, you want to ask a question or anybody else? If not, wait for your turn. We'll take care of it. Please conclude.
Now, the member for Kamloops denounced the conference that the health critic was at, calling it, quote, a far-right conference. He said, quote, the leader of the opposition must clearly denounce this conference once and for all and explain to British Columbians why he and his candidates endorsed it in the first place. I wonder whether the leader of the opposition will denounce this conference and everything that happened at it last night.
Thank you.
And
Thank you. Members. Members. Please conclude.
thank you. I hope the leader of the opposition denounced the conference and his members' attendance at it.